So it says, we're just going to go right into it. We're going to talk about the statement that Henry Cavill made. He is out as Superman. He made a statement on his Instagram post, and I've got that here. He says,
so sad.
Yeah, I'm just going to read it. It says, I'm tempted to read it in his stoic English voice, but I'm not going to.
You won't be able to keep it up the whole time.
I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it is sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens, and I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. For those of you who have been by my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember, Superman is still around. Everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape has passed, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all. Onwards and upwards. Even as he's screwed by Hollywood, he is magnanimous, professional, and incredible.
Henry Cavill is being so gracious to James Gunn, almost to a fault, about this news. And it just shows that,
I want a little snark.
Henry Cavill, he's going to be just fine. He's extremely talented, gracious, easy to work with, marketable. He's a total beefcake. And I think James Gunn is going to find out with time that this decision is actually going to leave him with the L. Yeah. And he just doesn't know it yet. Well, James Gunn just showed us the definition of not listening to the fans. Because if there was one thing I saw people were unanimously agreeing on, it's that they wanted Henry Cavill back as Superman. Yep. Henry Cavill himself wanted this outcome, and we won't get it because James Gunn has this habit of lowering the stakes for everything that he writes and directs, including now a rumored origin story film starring a different actor as Superman in his younger years.
I don't know who they get to do that, but I feel horrible for whoever they have to cast.
That guy is going to get cyberbullied. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen to him.
And it won't be their fault. That's the sad part.
It's not Liam Hemsworth's fault. It's not Liam Hemsworth's fault that he replaced Henry Cavill on The Witcher. But he's going to get bullied too because you replace someone who is beloved as this classic character.
Also, this means that Gunn is he has confirmed that he is writing the Superman movie.
Yes.
I don't like that idea. I like it when he sticks to less recognizable characters. He will not be directing it.
Here's what he tweeted. Yeah. He said, Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the year. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. Yep. But we just had a meeting with Henry and we're big fans. We talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. If Henry Cavill is smart, though, I think, say goodbye to DC, because this is extremely disrespectful that they would have told him to announce his return to the role on social media before they even confirmed that this was happening, before they even began production, is insane. That's an insane decision.
Gunn wasn't hired yet, so there was nothing they could do about it. Like, the Gunn got hired and then the course shifted as quickly as it started. I have a solution, though, guys. For the people in the chat, what I've decided is this is what I would like to do. Before we keep going, what I think they should do, take the original Justice League and make all of them bad guys. What I want you to do is I want you to make Henry Cavill Lex Luthor. I want you to make Ben Affleck either Man-Bat or Deathstroke. I want you to make Ray Fisher Bronze Tiger. I want Gal Gadot to play Ravager or Talia al Ghul. I want Ezra Miller to just be gone and disappear. And I want Jason Momoa to be Lobo. I think you could do something with that. I especially would like to see Ben Affleck as either Man-Bat or possibly Deathstroke. But he could also do something like or Superman could play Bizarro Superman. Henry Cavill could play Bizarro Superman with the backwards voice. But there's a bunch of options here. And I know they will never do this.
No, they will never do this.
It's a horrible idea, but I was just like, how could
as long as we're on that note of coming up with new ideas, I saw this tweet that called for a new lineup where Andrew Tate plays Aquaman, Kanye West is Cyborg, Ghislaine Maxwell is Wonder Woman. Elon Musk plays Batman. Woody Allen plays Alfred.
Oh my God.
Sam Hyde plays Superman.
That's horrible.
In our nightmare fuel world.
Here, how about we do this? I don't even like the casting idea, but somebody give Henry Cavill Bond. Just let him be Bond.
I don't know. I don't think that
let him be Bond
necessarily is the right rebound for him.
I want to know how
obviously he should be sought after and given the roles that he does best and that people love him for, and yet James Gunn is not business savvy enough to know that would be incredibly popular.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, like, I've also not that long ago advocated, I said, look, they just need to wipe the slate. They need to get rid of all of them because there's too many loose ends that are connected to other ends of the universe that people either have really strong feelings for or against, and it works against them every time to have the leftover materials with bad feelings and all the things that are associated with that. I just don't know how you cast an IP as iconic as the Justice League as perfectly as they did and still bat 175 at the plate without any home runs whatsoever. You could call Aquaman a triple, I guess. It made $1 billion, but it wasn't all that great of a movie. Like, I don't know how you end up doing that. It's also funny, too, because Ezra Miller's still there, but I have a strong feeling he will be gone.
There were a lot of people outraged that Ezra Miller is still playing the Flash. They either want this movie to be canceled altogether, which shows a lack of awareness of, like, the stakes of a film of that level, or they wanted him to be recast, and again, that's not going to happen. It's coming out in June.
Also, we found out that they have been in talks with Ben Affleck to direct a DC movie, and that makes way more sense. And what you'll remember, guys, is that when this all got started, when he got hired on and they finished Batman vs. Superman, he was originally attached to write, direct, and star in an Escape from Arkham Batman movie with Deathstroke, played by Joe Manganiello. And this was like right as Affleck was going through like the worst of his like rehab addiction issues and stuff like that. It's why his weight fluctuates so heavily throughout the Justice League movie. But Affleck was supposed to write, direct, and star in a Batman movie. Now you could get him, since he is far more interested. Think about what we talked about with actors' equity. He is far more interested in working behind the camera than he is in front of the camera these days. And you get a director, a writer who is passionate about the source material. Ben Affleck is a huge Batman and a huge DC fan. You can keep them on. Maybe that's what they do. Maybe that's how he keeps the Snyder fans happy by keeping Affleck on behind the camera.
As an outsider, I'm just amused by the responses related to Zack Snyder. Either it's Zack Snyder fans saying that only he can remedy the destruction that James Gunn is planning for the DC franchise, or it's people blaming Zack Snyder creating this dumpster fire of a universe that James Gunn has to come and save.
That's not
and it's
him
an impossible task.
He casted and hired well. He made movies that were very, very polarizing, but I don't think he's to blame. It's not him that you blame the blame at the foot of. It's the studio and the constant interference. This goes well beyond Zack Snyder. There was heavy influence to David Ayer's version of Suicide Squad that they ruined. The studio at DC is legendary for not letting their creators make what they want to make and constantly getting involved, constantly making ham-fisted decisions that end up blowing up in their face. This is DC Entertainment and Warner Brothers' fault, not any one director or creator. Oddly enough, I would add that Zack Snyder is a big reason why the first Wonder Woman did so well, because the characters were based on his story and he helped the writing process. That was not Patty Jenkins who wrote that movie. But I just want to know, like, out of all of them to get rid of, like, if I was to say, like, when I said before, I said they should get rid of all of them and just start over. But if there was one you should have kept Henry Cavill as Superman. And don't bring him back as,
that was the least divisive casting decision that they had, and it was what I saw everyone asking for. I don't understand what goes behind a decision like this. As for Ben Affleck directing, James Gunn did say he met with him yesterday or day before yesterday about that, but they aren't going to have him directing this Superman film.
No, I think he will end up doing a Batman, possibly a Batman.
So
no,
one person,
it wouldn't be, that depends on if they introduce Robert Pattinson's The Batman, because then that's still Matt Reeves is in charge of that trilogy. So maybe he does something else.
Yeah, but they just haven't found it yet.
Oh, that was the other thing. I said he should do a Deathstroke movie. If James Gunn wants to move away from the original Trinity, which is in complete contradiction to what David
Zaslav... That's an idiotic
Zaslav...
idea anyway.
Well, and it goes in complete contradiction with what David Zaslav said because they want to focus on those money-making characters. Deathstroke is a really, really good way to go in kind of the same way that Deadpool was a very, very good way to go for Marvel. So it would be very, very cool to see them do something like that. Also, maybe you could get Ben Affleck to do a Green Lantern or a Green Arrow movie. Like, those are both very, very good options. So it will be also like...
I want to mention this Weasley tweet.
Oh, yes.
So someone asked James Gunn in the replies, please tell me this isn't an origin movie. And James Gunn quote tweets them and says, no way. Now, this could either mean... no, it's not an origin story. Or it could mean, no, I'm not going to tell you that it's not an origin story.
Total weasel words.
So is that intentional? I don't know. Like, being intentionally ambiguous with fans, once again, just creates bad morale, a bad relationship. And, you know, I hate that The Rock seemingly used this Superman cameo at the end of Black Adam to drum up attention for Black Adam. And revealed that he had no genuine desire to see Henry Cavill return to his role. He just wants Black Adam to surpass Superman in popularity, which is delusional at best, egomaniacal at worst.
It also sucks to see like an actor like Henry Cavill to get such a perfectly casted role in which you didn't really get any movie that really understood the spirit of what the Superman character is supposed to be. You could say that that's Zack Snyder's fault. It is a fair criticism to say that what he always wanted to do was make a Batman movie, and they didn't give him a Batman movie. He got to make... And even Ben Affleck never got a solo Batman movie. He only got to work in the team film, so that doesn't actually make any sense. But... it's heartbreaking to see because in an industry where being supportive of fans, being supportive of Hollywood following source material is really looked upon with a heavy amount of derision from the people in charge and the other actors who see it all as a platform for them to bolster their own careers.
The Rock just uses this as a buzzword phrase.
Yeah. Whereas Henry Cavill
get upvotes on Twitter, and he doesn't live it out, just like you said. As for Henry Cavill possibly returning to The Witcher, I'm seeing tons of memes claiming that Liam Hemsworth is going to be caught by surprise, and then
he just walks
Henry Cavill walks into set and he's back, but that's not going to happen because we covered this. Henry Cavill left The Witcher for his own reasons, his own differences with the showrunners and writers who we learned had disdain for the source material, the books, the games. They made fun of the source material together, and they wanted to change it with the adaptation. They're ruining it with the third and fourth season. I think people are going to drop off really quick after Liam Hemsworth starts his run in the series. So he had this beef with the showrunners, and once again, it's Henry Cavill being the man of the people, caring about the source material, wanting to reflect the values of the character and the integrity of it, and he's shot down.
And it's you just don't have an industry where people take that magnanimous of an approach to anything they do anymore. They always find a way. They always find a way to blame someone or something about something like this. But maybe it is because he's just a straight white dude that he can't blame it on anyone else. So he has to be magnanimous. It's how it's how he's raised.
Or he's just smart. Maybe he is furious and also embarrassed. I hope that he at least like fires whatever manager or agency got him into this mess, because it's done a lot of damage to his career. I think
we'll have to wait and see if that's true. A lot of people think he's going to Marvel because he went to a Marvel premiere recently. It would be interesting.
That would be an ultimate bamboozle.
Yeah, somebody said they should put
more proof of
Captain Britain.
The theory that James Gunn is a mole from Marvel.
They're
imagine sent to sabotage DC.
I imagine that Anna, that Star Wars girl, is watching the video of Henry Cavill putting the computer together right now to cope with the fact that this is going on. That was like that was great when she's like, that is like, he's a nerd, and like that. I've told that story before that he legitimately almost missed the call that said he got the role because he was in the middle of a World of Warcraft campaign, because he's legitimately a dork, and he just happens to be a very, very buff dork. Though there's a lot of really great, it's like, well, like your girlfriend, like when a girl says that she likes nerds and they show a picture of Henry Cavill, it's like,
no,
that's not the normal nerd. That's the abnormal nerd, guys. So it's like, it's just sad to see them bungle it. But I will say that if I'm going to play devil's advocate here, James Gunn is in the formative stages of a very, very long and grueling process. And I don't envy the amount of extremely difficult decisions he's going to have to make. And if you are going to get rid of all of them, it is actually the rare situation where you may have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because you just can't have any loose ends that connect to the rest of the universe, because it is fruit of the poisonous tree, right? You cannot have one person connect back to it and have another one. But does that mean that we get rid of...
Superman movie wasn't supposed to be a direct sequel to Man of Steel.
But it was
going to be its own thing.
Then
I get
that that's
confusing, but still, like, if you're going to keep any ties to previous movies, keep those castings, because they were really good.
Well, then maybe here's the other thing. Because people they just canceled the Batman Beyond movie. That's another strike against Gunn's record, because a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton is actually a great idea and doesn't force you to have to put him in the cape in the movie. So one thing they could do is wait a period of time. Maybe as they get more established, they bring him back for a solo movie. Like a one-off in its own universe down the line?
Maybe, but
like,
still,
I don't think so, but if I were him, I wouldn't come back.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's
also, they had like 800.
Disrespectful.
There was a thing about how they have like $800 million in tax write-offs and write-downs this year. Like maybe they just can't afford him. Maybe they literally he's too expensive. Like, Cavill costs a lot of money. Also, there's a petition that has been launched to keep Henry Cavill and get rid of James Gunn, which I'm sure it's got like 500 signatures.
The Fire
right
James
now.
Gunn tweets have been ramping up. Even the Fire David Zaslav tweets have been ramping up. People are mad at both of them. People think that Warner is being massively mismanaged at this point.
I really think that maybe getting Ben Affleck to direct an Arkham, either an Arkham movie or a movie about Deathstroke would be the way to go for him. And now I think, in the chat, Shimmy Shelley says, gonna go rewatch Man from U.N.C.L.E. I might have to rewatch either Man from U.N.C.L.E. or Man of Steel tonight, just to like the cope, just for the cope about what you do. It's like, how do you mess this up? How do you mess this up? It doesn't make any sense to me.
He fumbled the bag, and now we're all laughing at him.
But what's also, it's like, I don't envy him. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, the news is going to keep coming out.
What are you supposed to do?
It is
at
almost
least
more The Rock's
this.
It is almost more The Rock's fault. If we hadn't got the announcement that he was coming back, it wouldn't have hurt so much to find out that he's not going to be Superman anymore. It was like they gave him to us, and then they snatched him away.
Right. But The Rock didn't... They didn't have to allow The Rock to have that cameo.
No.
You know?
No.
He clearly wanted that cameo as a cheap way to get more eyes on the movie.
Also,
and it didn't have organic support. It flopped.
You know what this really means? Walter Hamada is over there at Paramount right now, or whatever he's doing, directing horror movies, laughing because he got the last laugh against Henry Cavill. And that's wrong. I don't want Walter Hamada to have the last laugh about this. I want Henry Cavill to have the last laugh about this.
We're watching the implosion of this franchise, and there is nothing that can save it.
Also, guys, it is one of those things where the more we cover, at least this is concrete, and we got the story direct from the horse's mouth, right? Like, I'm getting sick of, like, sources close to this person says, I'm going to start, like, seeing pictures of James Gunn, and everyone who's around him, I'm like, is that the actual source close to James Gunn?
Where's the source?
Is that the guy? Like, I want to know. It's
anonymous source breathing down James Gunn's neck.
It is so sad. But it is almost like trial by fire for him. Like, every day he's like, I said that. When did I say that? Like, he has to have all this stuff coming out. But get off Twitter for a bit, dude. Get off Twitter for a bit and just focus on what you're doing.
No wonder Peter Safran isn't having to deal with hashtag fire Peter Safran. He's not tweeting.
He's smart. He's very smart. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.